So now I am going to introduce to you our first panelist, Sanjana. Sanjana is a 15-year-old girl from Good Shepherd School in Chennai, India. Sanjana is a girl advocate in her school with an outreach to rural girls. Her eagerness engaging in advocacy was seen on Friday last when she submitted a question at the Girls' Town Hall event hosted at the United Nations. The question read, in countries like mine, India, where digital literacy is quite low and helplines and apps are not possible, how can we give girls a safe space to share their thoughts on our past abuses or to protect their mental health? With that, it is my honor to give the floor to Sanjana. Sanjana, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sister Winifred, and it is an absolute delight to be a part of this panel. Good morning to everybody in Asia Pacific, and I am so glad to be sharing with you my story of advocacy. When I was 8 years old, I asked my mother why I was born a girl. She told me it was how God wanted me to be, but it did not satisfy my question. As a little girl, I was a little eccentric, very curious, but most of all, yearning for change. Being an avid reader, I had always wanted to be someone else, someone who was strong, someone who was admirable. Growing up, I was taught by my family that there is a division in this world between the privileged and the deprived. Don't waste food, there are people going hungry. Do your homework, there are girls who can't go to school, were all things I frequently heard. But it was when I was 10 that I got to experience that division firsthand. I went on a school outreach program to an orphanage. That was the day I realized that there are girls out there who are waiting for me to be the voice that would change their future. I started my journey by helping girls whose disability held them back. I scribed for autistic children, those suffering from ADHD, college students who were visually impaired, and girls affected by HIV. I learned how girls can be excluded and shunned from receiving their basic human rights. I joined a social service organization called Sampurna and learned about advocacy and how to do it effectively. When I was 12 years old, I asked my teachers why I was born a girl, and they told me about chromosomes and sex determination, but I still was not satisfied. When I was 13 years old, I had the opportunity to go on a trip with a few other students to Mulakalapalli, a small tribal village in the south of India, where we conducted camps for children. That day, we walked about 5 kilometers from the convent where we were staying to the village, and all of our students were panting and gasping. I was shocked to realize that these women and girls had to walk such a distance just to access water. That day, when a young village girl held my hand and called me Akka, which means elder sister, I knew that engaging with those girls was what I was meant to do, what I was here in this world for. When I was 14 years old, I asked my friends why we were born girls. They laughed at me and dismissed my question. Last year, on the International Day of the Girl, I traveled to Salem, a small village in the south of India, with 4 other girls where we conducted a program. The girls in this village were prone to teenage pregnancies and early marriage. We spent 2 days in the village. The first day we conducted the program, and the second day was informal, where we met with the girls and explored with them why early marriage happens in their community. At the end of the program, most of the girls were convinced of the need for education and also wanted to educate their villagers. The pandemic, as per everyone, came as an utter shock, but it was also a catalyst to a new initiative, the beginning of an online forum for girls our age to speak out on things that matter to them. We spoke about bullying, including cyberbullying, mental health, violence, racism, casteism, and other sensitive topics like the LGBTQIA community. Today, this forum has grown from our school to other schools and also beyond borders to Pakistan and Nepal. But why stop with that? I was also a part of a group of students who were actively involved in educating young girls about the menstrual cycle. We had virtual sessions where we educated young girls on the myths surrounding periods, the changes that occur, how to battle them, and also about talking to men about menstruation, thus truly putting a period to the period taboo. My parents were right. There is a division in this world. But instead of sitting and fretting about that division, I have learned to include the excluded. I am 15 years old now, and I ask myself, why do you think you were born a girl? And I answered myself saying, I am a girl because I am strong. I am compassionate. I have a voice, and with other girls, we can surely bring about change. I know now how reaching out to others also makes you reach within. My dream for every girl is for her to ask herself the same question I asked myself. For her to know the power that she has within, to know that she is truly capable of change. And so I ask, if not you and I, then who? If not now, then when? Your voice and my voice is our equal future. And happy International Day of the Girl to each and every one of you.
Winifred, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Sanjana, thank you very much for this very interesting presentation that you've made. And as you shared, I was saying here in our midst is our own end period poverty campaigner. You are here in person. Thank you again for sharing. You include many dimensions and issues in your sharing, but the phrase also that I would like to pick up, and maybe we can explore it later, is, I know how reaching out to others also makes you reach within. So thank you again, Sanjana, and we'll be talking to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Winifred, for having me.